Hi guys, Mary Tully here for Tully's Training. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are going to be talking about doodles. How to train your doodle. If you have a doodle, if you know a doodle, if you've seen a doodle, we're going to talk about doodles. So doodles are a breed of dog that has not been around for too long. I honestly don't know for sure when they even kind of came on the scene. But they are a dog that originated in Australia. That was kind of where they started. And since then, they have kind of taken the United States by storm. I think I've seen, I've counted earlier today, 5 doodle puppies that I saw that I've seen in the last weekend just around my house. So these dogs are gaining a lot of popularity. They are all over the place. If you go to a dog park, chances are you're going to see at least one. You might see several. And so today we're going to talk about what the doodle actually is, where they come from. We're going to talk a little bit about some thing to think about if you're considering adding a doodle to your family. And we're also going to talk about, if you have a doodle, some kind of things that you want to make sure that you're doing and thinking about in regards to training and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I said just a second ago, doodles are a breed of dog that comes from Australia, and essentially I've heard of some new types of fancy new doodles that are kind of coming out that are like bred with husky and Australian shepherd and a bunch of other crazy stuff. But for the most part, when you're talking about a doodle, you're talking about a Labradoodle, which is a combination of a poodle and a Labrador retriever, or you're talking about a Golden Doodle, and that is a combination of a poodle and a golden retriever. So kind of the essential idea is you're kind of combining this sporting breed in combination with a non-sporting breed. So you've got an athlete combined with a dog that is extremely, extremely smart. Now, one of the main reasons why people are attracted to doodles, in my experience, besides the fact that they look like living Muppets, is that they are hypoallergenic. So poodles are a dog that's hypoallergenic. They do not have pet dander and they do not shed. So a lot of people who have dog allergies are not allergic to poodles for those reasons. And so the idea is that if you combine that type of a dog with a golden retriever or a Labrador, those types of dogs shed a lot, then you have kind of this great, silly family dog that also doesn't shed. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So that's kind of the idea. That's why a lot of people are really interested in these dogs. And I have had the opportunity of working with lots of them. So I'm going to talk to you guys from a lot of personal experience that I've had with different types of doodle. So doodles typically come in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. I've heard of extra large and extra small. But for the most part, you're going to be seeing smalls, mediums, and larges. I think the most common that we see are mediums, but I have worked with smalls, I have worked with larges, I've worked with the whole size spectrum of doodle. So, and if you're a dog trainer in the United States, you have too, because Lord have mercy, these dogs are everywhere. Everybody seems to be getting a doodle. So let's start with kind of some training things that you'll want to think about if you have a doodle. So, or if you're thinking about getting one. So there's kind of 2 really important categories, I think, when it comes to Golden Doodles and Labradoodles. Number 1, you want to make sure that if you bring a Golden Doodle or a Labradoodle into your house, that you are prepared to socialize the crap out of that puppy. Now, if you have gotten a doodle that is over the age of between 16 and 20 weeks, then you want to make sure that this has already been done by whoever had the puppy when he was kind of in that socialization window, which is, if anybody knows who's kind of watched previous videos, usually between 8 and 16 weeks is kind of the hot period for socialization. So either you want to make sure that somebody else knew what they were doing when they had that puppy, or if you have the puppy at that age, you want to really make sure that you know what you're doing in regards to socialization. So socialization in the capacity to which I'm talking about it right now is not your dog, how much your dog likes people or how much your dog likes dogs. Yes, those are parts of socialization, but really what I'm talking about is exposing your puppy to stimuli during a certain developmental window of their development. So that means kind of exposing them to whatever is going to kind of make up their world. So if you live in a very rural area, that means probably exposing them to tractors and to livestock and to lots of different types of animals and things like that. If you are in an urban area, that means probably skateboards coming in close proximity. That means probably trash trucks and garbage trucks and fire trucks and bicycles and lots of people and all different kinds of things. Excuse me, you're distracting me. He's just like totally on his back right now. Excuse me, we're trying to do something. So basically, socialization is super, super important. It's important for every single dog that you will ever have or ever meet. Socialization, really, it's important for any animal species. It's important for humans. But with when you're talking about a dog like a doodle that's extremely athletic and extremely intelligent, it's very important. I think that kind of the point that I want to make with bringing this up is that I think a lot of people assume that doodles are great family dogs. And especially if you're getting a golden doodle, you think golden retriever. Who's ever heard of an aggressive golden retriever? Well, I have. But I've also seen a lot of golden doodles with behavioral problems and a lot of Labradoodles with behavioral problems. And many of those behavioral problems have come from the fact that they weren't socialized properly. So don't assume that your doodle is going to be good to go and you're not going to have to put any work in when it comes to socialization. That is incorrect assumption to make. They need a lot of socialization, probably more than your average breed. So that is something that you definitely want to think about, and it's definitely something that you want to talk to probably a professional about and make sure that you're going about it the right way. Also, another thing to kind of consider with your puppy, if you have a puppy, these puppies tend to be extremely mouthy. So bite inhibition is something you're going to have to work on with them a lot. Be prepared for that. If you have young children who are really sensitive and get scared by dogs chewing on them, then doodles might not be the right puppy for you. Also, probably Labrador is not the right puppy for you. Poodles and retrievers tend to be very mouthy dogs. And when you combine them together, it seems to be amplified in many cases. So you want to make sure that you understand how to teach a puppy proper bite inhibition and that you're set up to be able to do that properly. All right, so the next category for Golden Doodle and Labradoodle training is exercise and enrichment. These dogs need a lot of exercise. And not only do they need exercise, but they need the kind of exercise where they're having to think as they're moving. So if you are looking for a dog that you can just take on a nice walk in the morning and a nice walk at night, and that's going to be their exercise, you're probably not going to get to that point with your doodle until they're about 6 or 7 years old if you're lucky. So you're looking at an extended puppy phase with this dog, and you're looking at a dog that's going to need miles and miles of cardio twice a day, every single day, along with training and mental stimulation every single day. So kind of a sample schedule that I would usually give to somebody who has a doodle to make sure they're getting that mental enrichment and that physical exercise is at least, this is minimum, an hour walk twice a day. And when I say walk, I don't mean a stroll with your cell phone and, listening to a podcast. I mean, you are walking to the point where you can speak breathily, but you cannot sing. So your heart rate is up, you're sweating. That's kind of what I'm talking about. At least 2 hours of cardio a day for these dogs. And while you're on the walk with them, you've got your treat pouch and you're doing a training session. So you're asking them to sit, you're asking them for their name recognition, maybe you're working on a heel, maybe you have them do, throw in some sit stays, things like that throughout the walk. And then for one meal a day, they would need to be fed out of a puzzle toy. You cannot usually give them just one puzzle toy, so you couldn't give them a Kong every day. You probably would need to have 3 or 4 different types of puzzle toys that you're going to rotate, so that way each day they get something different, so it's actually a challenge for them to get their food. And then also on top of that, they're going to need an additional training session that, again, is not the same every day. So these dogs also do really great with things like agility. So anything that you can think of where, you're thinking like a really advanced intelligent animal. You know, like your border collies, your Australian shepherds, they're not quite on that level, but they're very close. So, and again, kind of where that comes from is you've got your retriever, so you've got your Labrador retriever, your golden retriever side. That's a sporting dog, that's an athlete, that's an engineered athlete. And then you've got your poodle, which is extremely intelligent. So you've got a really, really smart athlete. And as you can probably imagine, if you have a really, really intelligent athlete that's not getting enough exercise and is not getting the mental stimulation, they can be quite a handful. So 99.9% of the time when I walk into a house of somebody that has a doodle, the doodle is understimulated. It's really, really difficult to give these dogs everything that they need. It's possible, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So kind of a general overview, I think that, you know, a lot of people go to these dogs, especially if maybe they have a child that has, you know, an allergy, but the child really wants a dog. A lot of people go to Doodles because they think they're going to be really sweet, really chill family dogs. And I think that if you have older children who are great with animals and you yourself have a lot of experience with dogs and training, then a Doodle can be, you know, a great fit for you. But I think for your average family that's really busy and running around and has a lot going on, Doodle is not probably the best dog for you. Again, these dogs take a lot of time. They need a lot of energy. They need a lot of training. I would not recommend a Doodle for somebody who has never had a dog before. I would not recommend a Doodle for somebody who has small children, unless you just have a ton of experience and you've maybe, you know, have lots of experience with the breed and you really know what you're getting yourself into. So that's pretty much all I have today. We have a blog post if you want to read more information about Doodles. Just also to kind of tell you, I love Doodles. I think they're awesome. I think they're hilarious. I think they're so silly. And I think that they are so fun to work with. As a dog trainer, I really, really love working with Doodles because they learn really fast. They like to move. They like to go. They're kind of like working with the sea lion in a way. But I think what I've seen with a lot of people is I think a lot of people just don't really know what they're getting themselves into. They think they're getting this like really sweet, mellow, gentle family dog. And for the most part, these dogs are really, really energetic and they're intense and they want to go and they want to do, and they're not really so much interested in hanging out at home watching TV. So it's just one of those things that if you decide to kind of go in the direction of the Doodle, you want to make sure that you're not only doing it because they're hypoallergenic, because that is not a good enough reason. You want to really make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, and then again, you have the time, the money, and the expertise to give them what they need. Because if you can give them what they need, they are so great. They're such great dogs. But if you don't, holy smokes, good luck to you. They're going to ruin your house. So that's pretty much it. I love Doodles. I think they're awesome, but they're definitely not for everyone. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!